make the birthstone necklace, you're going to need some birthstone flat back gems. These are Swarovski rhinestones in 4 millimeters. And then you'll need a pendant blank to put them on, and our pendant blank is rose gold and it's 5 millimeters by 35 millimeters. It has one hole at the top, so it'll hang along this way. Then we've got this very cute heart charm that's open, and it's also in rose gold, and it is 12 millimeters by 16 millimeters. We've got 2 jump rings in rose gold, 5 millimeters, and we've got some chain. The chain has kind of an open loop that the jump rings will fit through. It's rose gold, and we have 18 inches of that. For tools, we have chain nose pliers and round nose pliers. We've got some tweezers to handle our gems with, and then we're going to use E6000 glue, and we have a toothpick that's a special trick for applying the glue. To make the birthstone pendant, we're going to glue some flat back Swarovski rhinestones onto our pendant blank. And to do that, we're going to use some E6000 glue. And I like to just squeeze a little bit out onto a little scrap piece of paper. And then I like to apply it with a toothpick to the back of the rhinestone. So to do that, the tweezers come in handy. If you try to pick up one of these gemstones with your fingers and hold it to apply the glue, it's very difficult. So instead, I like to use the tweezers and hold the rhinestone that way. I've got these set up in the order I want them. So I've got the oldest on the top. So this is the birthstone for the oldest child. This is the birthstone color for the middle child and the birthstone color for the youngest child. So cute. And I'm going to glue the bottom one first. So I'm picking up that rhinestone with the tweezers and just tilting it over. And then I'm going to take the toothpick and grab a little bit of that E6000. You don't need much. And if you twirl it, you can get rid of that little glue string. And then apply it to the back here of the Swarovski rhinestone. Put some glue on there. And then I want to set this down right where I want it on the pendant blank. And so I'm going to use the tweezers just to set it down. And I can actually use another toothpick to hold it in place because it's sticking to the tweezers a tiny bit. And if you have any glue that comes out the side, I have a tiny bit there, that comes off later, so don't worry about that at all. I'm going to do that with the next one. Pick up my little rhinestone, flip it over, and then apply the glue to the back there. This is the reason you don't want to apply too much glue, is you don't want a lot of glue to squeeze out the sides. And there's my glue. I've got my toothpick ready because now I know it wants to stay stuck to the tweezers as I set it down. And I'm going to center that here on the pendant blank, and then I'm going to use the toothpick to push it where I want it there. So I want it centered from left to right. And then I'm going to copy that spacing between the bottom one and the middle one for the next one. And if you have more kids to do than 3, you can just line them on up here. If there's just one, just put the one at the bottom. It's very pretty that way. And I'm flipping over the gemstone, our little flat back rhinestone. I'm going to apply a little glue there to the back. And we'll want to let this glue set up for a little while before we make the next part of the pendant. The tweezers are hanging on here tight, but I'm using the toothpick to release it. So let me center that. So I want to make sure those are on there, press them down. And then we're going to let that set up so the glue is nice and tight and secure. And then we're going to turn it into a necklace. Our glue is all set up, so our birthstones are glued onto our pendant blank and they look lovely. If you have any glue that has squished out of the side of the rhinestone and you want to clean it up, you can just use your toothpick to kind of grab it and pull it off. It should come right off, or you can use your fingernail to pull it off. And then we want to turn this into a necklace. So to do that, what we're going to do is put a jump ring onto the pendant. And to open a jump ring, we like to use 2 pairs of pliers. We have our chain nose pliers here and our round nose pliers. What you want to do is you want to orient the jump ring so that the cut in it is at the top of the circle. So the circle is cut here, it goes all the way around, comes back up, and there's the cut. I've got my chain nose pliers on one side of that cut. And then I'm going to use my round nose pliers, or you could use another pair of chain nose pliers. I'm going to grab the other side of the jump ring. So I'm just going to push one side towards the table while I'm holding the other side up towards the ceiling. And what that does is it maintains the circular shape of the jump ring, but it creates an opening, like opening a gate. And I'm going to put that onto our little heart charm. I like to keep holding on to the jump ring with the chain nose pliers. It's easier to handle, then your fingers aren't getting in the way. And then I can just slide the little loop on the heart charm there into the jump ring. And then while I've got it there, I'm going to put the end of the chain into the jump ring. So this is how we're attaching this heart charm to one end of our 18-inch piece of chain. And it's why we wanted to make sure that the loop of our chain would fit this jump ring. So I've got both of those in there now, and then to close that, I can either press across with my chain nose pliers like this, or you can use both pliers and do the reverse action of how you opened it. But you see when I press it closed now, that's a nice round shape. So we've got our little charm on there, and now we want to put our birthstone pendant on the other end of the chain. We're going to do the same thing we just did. I'm going to pick up my jump ring, and I'm going to look at it to see where that cut is. You can hold it up to the light and see the light coming through that cut if you're having trouble finding it. I'm going to hold it with the chain nose pliers on one side of the cut. I've got my round nose pliers, or my other pair of pliers, on the other side of the cut. I'm just going to rotate that a little bit just to create a little opening there. Keep holding on to that jump ring with the pliers, and I'm going to slide the birthstone pendant right on there. And then I'm going to find the other end of my chain and feed the last loop onto the jump ring. You can make this necklace any length you want. So you may want to test it with a necklace you already have, test the length and measure it, and that's how long you'll want your chain. And because it's a lariat type necklace, you might make it a little bit longer. So then I'm just pressing that closed, and that's how easy the assembly part is. We've got the birthstone pendant all made and on one end of the chain. We've got the cute little heart charm on the other end. And then to wear it, it doesn't have a clasp. You just slide the birthstone pendant in through the charm, and you wear it like a lariat. And that is our very pretty, great gift for Mother's Day birthstone bar necklace.